Good afternoon. It's officially afternoon here in the UK. Cheers. Got some green tea on the brew here. I'm just going to wait, as usual, just for a minute, just to see if anyone joins me live. Ooh, that's way too hot to drink yet. Way too hot. The truth is, I'm not entirely sure what we're talking about here today. All I knew was that I had this feeling inside of me. It's like, go live, talk about things, just go live, just talk, just speak, just let it out. It's like, okay, cool, let's do it. So do say hello if you're jumping on live or on the replay. And let's see what bubbles out of me today, shall we? Who knows? We might end up tapping, we might end up just ranting. We never know. So the first thing that I feel to tell you is, yesterday I had acupuncture, and I started having this about a month ago, I guess, because I kept getting this like recurring pain in my back and in my neck to the point where it was very distracting. And I think I'm very much the opposite of a lot of people, certainly a lot of people in the mainstream, maybe not you guys, but I'm certainly the opposite of a lot of people in the mainstream who would have a physical pain and think, oh, I must have injured myself, I must have done something to hurt my physical body. The first thing I do is go, oh, I've got a pain in my neck. Okay, so let me tune into the pain. What is it? If it had a name, what would that be? What's it trying to communicate with me? What emotions attached to it? And then I'm tapping and I'm clearing and I'm journaling and what do I need? What action do I need to take in my life and all this kind of stuff. So I am very much someone who looks to the metaphysical, to the spiritual, to the energetic and emotional causes of the physical pain, as well as dealing with the physical. So when I got this neck and back thing and it kept recurring, and my chiropractor, who's also super woo, couldn't seem to like it, just felt like it was an ongoing thing, I felt drawn to go and see an acupuncturist who also has a background in 5-element theory. So obviously it was really fascinating to me to go and have someone work on my system using the theories and the philosophies that I've been learning over the last few months. And the first session, it was like, yeah, this is pretty good. I feel a little bit of an ease in the neck, but then it kind of came back and I was like, went in for my next session, and after that I haven't had any pain in my neck or my back, like not to the same extent. I get like DOMS still from exercising a lot, but I don't get like that twingy pain. So a few weeks ago, started to get a pain in my right knee. So I went back to the acupuncturist yesterday and I was like, right, I've got a lot of shit going on in this knee. I don't really know what's going on. And she needled the shit out of all of my gallbladder points and my liver points. Which was like all repressed emotion, all that kind of stuff. She did a few of my kidney points, and she did my heart meridians as well, because my heart and my large intestine, and my heart is like one of my primary organs because I'm a fire constitutional factor, and there's two types of fire constitution. There's the heart small intestine, which is me, and then there's the triple burner pericardium type as well. I'm a heart small intestine fire constitution. So this means that my heart and issues of the heart are kind of a primary themes that I see showing up in my life over and over again. And those of you who know me well or have worked with me would probably say things to me like, you've got such a big heart, you are so loving, you are so kind, you're so compassionate. And then people who don't always know me so well sometimes seem to think like, you're so driven, you're so powerful, you're so rah. And it's all true. I'm all of those things. But it's very easy for people to see what they want to see in me. It's very easy for them to see like the powerful, driven, rah, and not see the pieces that are, more vulnerable or soft. And I think sometimes in the coaching industry in particular, if you use social media marketing, content marketing as a way of getting your business and your message out into the world, there's a lot of pressure, I feel, externally, and a lot of advice around being authentic. Got to show all sides of yourself, be authentic. And it's almost like our quest and our search for this authenticity leads us away from our alignment, and it leads us away from our true authenticity. And I think also I'm also a 2-line in human design. So it's like this piece around, I find it difficult to see myself fully. So when I went to the acupuncturist yesterday and she is needling me away, she just said to me, "May I ask you a question?" And I was like, "Please." And I get goosebumps even thinking about it. And she said to me, "Can you just give yourself permission to be vulnerable?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can do that. Sure." So I'm laying on the bed getting the fuck needled out of me. And she's like putting pins in my stomach and shit. And then she just told me to breathe, and she was just asking me some questions and talking to me. And then I just had this huge emotional release. And as I did, I could feel, even thinking about it now, I'm like, ooh, because I could feel the needle in my heart meridian point here. I could feel it was like throbbing as I was like convulsing, like bubbly snot crying. And she came over to me, and she was like on my right side, and she started just like stroking my arm, and she was like, "It's okay." And I felt my body wanting to contract, because like she was giving me affection, she was nurturing me, and I was just like, "Oh, don't mother me, don't nurture me, don't pity me." I could feel that reaction happening in my body. And then there was a higher part of myself that was just like, this is what you need. You actually need to soften enough to receive the love and the nurturing that this woman is trying to give you. And it was such a pivotal thing to happen for me, and such a moment of integration around a lot of the work that I've been doing on myself and speaking to you guys a lot. And we even did a clear the other day on my Instagram around this stuff. And we did some clearing in the Money Mindset Reset program around receptivity. So it's no surprise that this stuff is showing up for me in physical reality, and I'm getting to integrate the changes, because that's what happens with this kind of clearing work that I do. We clear the things, and then we get an opportunity to re-experience things, re-experience something that might have triggered us in the past, and we get to make a different choice. We get to be a witness and then actively see all the different choices that we now have, whereas we used to just react and just like end up re-triggering ourselves into an old sabotage, an old defense mechanism. Whereas with this clearing work, what we're really doing is allowing ourselves to diffuse those initial responses. So you might still feel them, but you're able to see and witness yourself in a whole new way that you weren't able to before, and then make a different choice. So in that moment when she came and she was stroking my arm and I felt my body wanting to contract, I told her through the tears, I just said to her, "Oh my goodness, I don't want your pity. I don't want you to console me. I don't need to feel sorry for me." And she said, "Oh, should I stop stroking your arm?" And I was like, "No, I need you to. I need you to do that, because I need to receive it. I need to receive that love. I need to receive that nurturing and that softness from somebody who," and she said, "People love and care about you, and they want to give to you." And I was just like, oh, like my heart and my sacral, I was just like, oh, and like my solar plexus was just going, and I got so like all this energy and this heat. I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it. All this heat started coursing through my body. And I'd been feeling, and I think I didn't really realize quite how much I'd been feeling this until after this big, release and my system integrated. I hadn't really realized how much I'd been feeling separate, or how much I'd been feeling, how do I describe it? Let me just find the words. I think I'd just been so in like my driving forward and my wanting to provide value, and just naturally loving to give, and just putting things out in the world, that I had been so in that I hadn't noticed that switch click, which us generator types get. And I'm pretty sure everyone gets this, but I just know it as like that sacral. It's almost like your sacral goes, I'm not really into this anymore, but you're kind of in the flow of doing something, so you just keep on going. And for a manifesting generator to like slow down enough, and here's the deal, right? If you look at any of my charts anywhere, you'll see I'm a manifesting generator. I'm a fire constitutional factor. I'm a Taurus, which is like stubborn and, like workhorse, does the things. And I've got Leo moon and Leo rising. So again, there's a whole lot of fire. I'm very earth and like a lot of fucking fire in me. So it's quite tricky for me to actually sit and I noticed this morning, like I had all this energy in my body after my session with the acupuncturist yesterday, and it felt so alien to me. I was like, normally I just put the TV on or chill out, and I couldn't. Like, I couldn't just sit still and watch something. I was like wrapping up I have many wraps for boxing here that I've just come out of the wash, and like I'm sitting there and I'm like wrapping all of my wraps, and then I decided to sit, and I just sat back here in this very spot, cross-legged, and I just sat here, and I felt into my body, and I was like, wow. When I feel all of this energy like prickling, sparkling, like flowing through my body, my initial response is to like put it out into the world, right? What if I recalibrated my system to be able to sit in stillness and like let that build? What if I let it build up? You know, like an orgasm, right? It's like you can either just be like, wham bam, thank you ma'am, pew, I'm out. Or you can have like those moments with yourself or with a partner, you know, where you're building that energy, you're allowing yourself to like just like swim in the juiciness of the moment and like feel all of the deliciousness in that moment. Let it build, let it grow. Maybe you don't have to like, as soon as you've got enough energy, you don't have to give it all away. And I could feel myself, because I felt so energetically depleted for such a long time. Again, I hadn't really noticed until I started to feel the energy in my body. I was like, wow, I've been depleted for so long that now that I've got a little of it, I feel like I want to use it. I want to do something. I want to, you know, like, bah, bah, bah. But my system was like, no, receive this. Let it nurture you. Let yourself fully receive. And another thing that in the acupuncture and 5-element theory, and you might find this helpful if you have any digestive issues or you find that you run out of energy really quickly. If your spleen is fucked in the way that mine has been because of my eating habits and general way of living and not really paying enough attention to my body, sorry about it. But my spleen has been like, you know, needing some love that I maybe haven't really given it enough attention. And that was one of the points that she was doing yesterday as well, was the spleen. The spleen is in the earth element, and the earth element is all about nourishing, cultivating yourself, cultivating your path, receiving from life. It's not just about helping someone else with all their shit all the time, or like, oh, I've just got my breath back, okay, I'm ready to go again. It's like, what about if instead of immediately, you know, think about this in terms of money. You know, we talk about business a lot in here. That's kind of my jam, right? Imagine that in terms of money. Just when you've got enough, you go, oh, okay, I've got enough now, right? Okay, so I can give all of that away again. Imagine if you actually recalibrated your nervous system and your mind, your energetic system, to really be able to sit with the feeling of more, to like actually sit in feeling not just more, but feeling it build and like feeling that energy in the body. What if you got used to that like frisson of energy, that energetic sparkle and like in your being, and you actually allowed yourself to expand into that rather than feeling the faintest little prickle of something flickering inside of you and then fucking like, okay, cool, get that out of me, get it out into the world, because it comes from scarcity and it comes from not feeling safe, living into your truest, fullest vitality. And particularly generator types, and I feel like probably manifestors might have this a little bit as well. We can feel like too much sometimes. You can feel like we've got too much. Like, it's particularly like manigens and generators, I think we have, and manifestors, we have this like build, all of this energy all of a sudden, and we do all of these things like poof, 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 right? This can lead us to feeling like, when we have those spurts of energy, like we're just too fucking much. I've seen some memes about this recently, so it's quite interesting that this is coming up. But we can feel like we have too much energy. We're too much for people. So we want to minimize that for everyone around us. And why do we want to do that? To keep ourselves safe, because we don't want to be rejected or abandoned or have people say mean things about us. You know, none of us want that. And if it happens, well, we have to deal with it. But we're so busy trying to protect ourselves from that happening, protecting ourselves from feeling abandoned, feeling hurt, because we don't think we can handle it, or we think that it'll slow us down somehow. Like, if I have to deal with all of this grief or this hurt or this loss or this pain or this sadness or this abandonment, you know, I haven't got time. I haven't got fucking time to be dealing with that shit. I've got things to do. So when we allow ourselves to actually recalibrate our systems to be able to sit with more in our bodies, and whether that's more sexual energy or more financial energy or more just love, you know, the fact that when that acupuncturist came to me yesterday and stroked my arm to comfort me when I was very emotional and I almost couldn't receive it, that speaks fucking volumes to me about what is going on in my system, in my subconscious. When I feel vulnerable, what I want at my heart is for someone to just fucking scoop me up and give me the biggest hug. And I had the most delicious experience yesterday when that did happen, and I cried in front of a friend of mine and he just scooped me up in a massive hug, and I felt so loved and so held, and I felt my whole body just go and soften. Because in that moment I felt vulnerable, but I allowed myself to receive affection and comfort. And that is not fucking easy for me. I'm not even going to pretend that that is something that's easy for me, because it's really fucking not. I would much rather get thrown around a boxing ring by a bunch of sweaty men and kneed in the ribs and dropped on the floor and, you know, have big hugs at the end, big sweaty hugs. Like, I'm used to that kind of like roughhousing and playfulness, and I love it. And I don't want to sacrifice that or give that up in favor of any other kind of, like, you know, affection or whatever. I want that as well. I want it. I fucking want it all. Like, I want it all. I want all of that love. And to be able to acknowledge that I want that is the first fucking step. Like I keep saying at the moment to people about desire, you must acknowledge to yourself and admit to yourself what you want. And if you want affection and you want love and you want to be able to feel fully supported, that doesn't just mean being vulnerable. It means allowing yourself to be vulnerable, and then allow someone else in to support you if they desire to. If you are constantly in a place where every time you feel like you're breaking down, you don't actually allow anyone to come in and support you. I'm not talking about codependency here. I'm talking about a fucking healthy degree of human empathy, contact, and love. You know, if one of my friends breaks down in front of me, I'll often just hold a space for them to just process the emotion. The other day, a friend of mine broke down. She was on the verge of breaking into tears, and I said to her, "Do you need a hug?" Because for me, like, that consent piece is also important. But when you are like a really close friend, or you're in like a relationship, like a sexual relationship with somebody, and it's healthy, and you already have healthy boundaries, it's like, if someone fucking wants to give me a hug because I'm sad, you know, that's a nice thing. It's like, that's a fucking nice thing to receive. And it's only like as I'm reflecting on this today and when it happened to me yesterday that I realize how often I have blocked out love, like physical affection. I'm getting better at receiving compliments and words of affirmation. Like, even today when I asked you guys, like, what are you celebrating? And a few of you said, you know, well, I don't recognize myself since I've done my work with you. And like, your celebrations, a few of you like involved me in the work we done together. And I was like, I like breathe it into my heart and let like fill me up. But there was a time when I wouldn't have been able to do that, because even that would have felt vulnerable. To receive that would have felt vulnerable. It would have felt like, well, what do you want in return now that you said that to me? I would have been paranoid, or, you know, I would have been questioning, or like, where are the strings attached? And now I'm able to just like breathe it into my heart and feel it and let my system calibrate. Because I tell you what, it feels fucking good when you receive love and affection from people that, you know, you consensually want to receive it from. Yeah. So I'd love to know how this resonates with you. I haven't seen any comments. Sometimes I just don't see comments until like I've posted the video. So if you've been commenting, I apologize for not not reading them. I will come back and read them. But I would love to know, like, what about this resonates with you, and how can you today just set the intention to receive? I think a lot of us, myself included, have this idea of receptivity being like either, okay, like I've got to meditate and like get into receptive mode, or, you know, like, and be a clear channel. And sometimes that's absolutely correct. But what about your physical self? Where are you shutting yourself down from receiving? And for me, it was just that real-time physical experience of feeling vulnerable in, on the table, like literally like covered in pins, right? So I can't just like leap up because I've like got pins in me. So I've got to stay relatively still. Bubbly snot crying on my little heart meridians, like pulsing away with a pin in it. And my lovely acupuncturist coming in, just stroking my arm and wanting to comfort me, wanting to nurture me. And the fact that I caught the fact that I contracted inside, and I spoke it, and I said to her, I feel like I don't want this to happen, but I know I need it. I know I need this moment. I need to receive this nurturing. I need to get used to feeling vulnerable. And in level 4 of the spiral, we clear the heart and we clear it's openness, but there's vulnerability in there as well. Because what we talk about is your ability to actually deeply feel gratitude, like feel it. Like, I'm so fucking grateful for this life. Your ability to feel life, to feel gratitude, and to feel the love that you receive. It's fucking vulnerable. Because when you think about the heart, it opens to receive blood and then it closes, it contracts to squeeze it out again. But it does this for a healthy reason. If it just stayed open all the time, it would just fill and fill and fill and fill, and then there would be no like you die, right? It would probably explode. So the opening and the closing is important, and the same is true with your vulnerability. It's okay for you to want to close that off sometimes if it doesn't feel safe. But what I'm speaking to here is when you know it's safe, when you know you're in a safe environment with safe people that you trust and love and know, and who know you and love you and trust you, when there's that mutual respect, if you allow yourself to be softer and vulnerable and more open in front of people, that's just part of it. You also need to be willing to remain in an open and vulnerable space and receive in that place. Because if you can't do that, you can't really fully receive and engage with life. So I trust you got what you needed from this today. I would love to receive in the comments any feedback about how this has supported you today, about what you now know you can do to move yourself forward. If you haven't yet received my free heart opening and receptivity meditation, then you can, if you look in the welcome posts that are put out each week, that link to sign up for that is in there. It's completely free. You get added to my mailing list and you receive a channeled meditation from me, from my heart to yours, to allow you to open up into receptivity and receive life, joy, money, love, whatever the fuck you want. But you need to access the heart in order to do that. So that's a beautiful way to get started. And if you want to take this work deeper with me, then if you are someone with defined sacred and human design, reach out or just click the link and join the sacred sessions. There are many, many payment plans. There's also an opportunity to work with me at the VIP level in that group, where you actually get a one-to-one session and one-to-one access on Telegram, as well as all the group parts. So there's something for everyone there. If you're not sacred defined, or you know that you just want to come and do higher level work with me and you want to work with me one-to-one, do reach out to me. There's really no reason why you don't get to have everything that you want. And I deeply want to help you feel life more fully. Embrace it, enjoy it, love it, all of it. Love yourself, love you. Okay, love you, bye.